The world is preparing for a shortage. Are you ready? Do you think that food shortages are a distant future? You are wrong. In the coming weeks, the world will face a new wave of food crisis. Droughts, economic instability, military conflicts, and logistical problems are already affecting the food market. Some products will double in price, while others will simply disappear from the shelves. What exactly do you need to stock up on right now? What products may disappear and why? In this video, we'll tell you about the 30 most important products you need to have at home by the end of February to avoid being left without the essentials. Don't miss this list. It could be crucial for your budget and comfort in the coming months. Products that will be the first to become scarce. 1. Flour. Why is it likely to become scarce? Flour is the basis of many products, such as bread, pastries, pasta, and flour products. Its shortage can significantly affect the diet of millions of people around the world. However, in 2025, flour prices may reach record levels, and its stocks will begin to decline due to problems with grain production. The main reasons for the threat of a shortage: decreased wheat harvest. In Canada, Europe, and the U.S., abnormal drought reduced the wheat harvest by 30 to 40%. Unexpected frosts in France and Germany damaged a large part of the crops. As a result, less grain is coming to the market, creating a shortage. Export restrictions. Due to geopolitical instability, some countries have imposed a ban on wheat exports to protect their own markets. The main producers, India, Kazakhstan, and Russia, reduced export volumes, which affected global supply. Increased processing costs. Rising electricity and fuel prices have increased transportation and mill operating costs. Producers do not have time to process raw materials in the usual volumes, which affects the speed of supply. As a result, flour prices have already risen by 40%, and this is not the limit. Some stores are starting to limit the sale of this product to one person. What to do? Stock up on flour now before its prices skyrocket. Consider alternatives: oat, rice, coconut flour. Look for local producers. Farms can sell grain products directly. 2. Pasta. Shortage or rising prices. Pasta is one of the most affordable products that can be stored for a long time. However, due to the crisis in grain production, their availability may be sharply reduced. Why might pasta disappear from stores? Shortage of flour. Pasta is made primarily from durum wheat, which has been hit hardest by the drought in Canada and Europe. Producers are already warning of a reduction in production volumes because there is not enough raw material. Energy crisis. Pasta production requires significant processing and drying costs. Due to rising electricity, transportation, and packaging costs, some companies are cutting back on production. Growing demand. In times of economic instability, people start stocking up on long-term storage products, which creates an artificial shortage. In Europe and the United States, some supermarkets have limited the amount of pasta you can buy at a time. As a result, pasta prices have already risen by 25 to 30% and may rise even more. What to do? Buy pasta now while it is still available. Consider alternatives: bulgur, pearl barley, buckwheat. Look for local production. Many regional producers have not yet raised prices. 3. Rice. Why might it disappear? Rice is a staple food for billions of people. But in 2025, its production may decline, leading to shortages and higher prices. Why might rice become scarce? Climate change. The lack of water in key growing regions, India, China, Vietnam, has significantly reduced the harvest. Floods in Pakistan and Bangladesh destroyed more than 20% of crops in 2024. Some farmers are refusing to grow rice due to the high cost of production. Export restrictions. India has imposed a ban on the export of some rice varieties to stabilize the domestic market. Vietnam has reduced exports due to low stocks and growing domestic demand. Increased logistics costs. As rice is mainly exported by sea, rising fuel prices increase the cost of shipping. Some countries are forced to buy rice from other suppliers at higher prices, making the product more expensive on the global market. As a result, rice prices have already risen by 35%, and forecasts for 2025 suggest a possible rise of another 20 to 30%. What to do? Buy several packages of different types of rice: white, brown, wild, basmati, to have alternatives. Consider other cereals: bulgur, quinoa, buckwheat. Pay attention to promotions and discounts. There is still an opportunity to buy rice at an affordable price. 4. Sugar. Why can it become a deficit? Sugar is the main ingredient in many foods, from baked goods to drinks. It is used not only for sweetening, but also for preservation and manufacturing of various food products. However, in 2025, the sugar market may face a serious crisis that will lead to shortages and further price increases. The main reasons for the threat of a shortage: reduced harvest due to climate change. Brazil and India, the main sugar exporters, have reduced production due to prolonged droughts and abnormal weather events. Sugarcane yields in Brazil fell by 30%. In India, many farmers have abandoned sugarcane cultivation due to water shortages and low yields. Demand for biofuels. Due to the energy crisis, many countries are processing sugar cane for ethanol production, which has reduced the supply of edible sugar. Export restrictions. Some countries have already imposed export bans on sugar to stabilize the domestic market. In some regions, prices have increased by 60%. What to do? Stock up on sugar in advance before the price goes up even more. Use alternatives: honey, stevia, agave syrup. Watch for promotions to buy the product at old prices. 5. Vegetable oil. Has the shortage already begun? Vegetable oil is an indispensable product in cooking, but its production and exports are experiencing a serious crisis. In 2025, this commodity may become significantly more expensive or even scarce. The main reasons for the shortage: decreased harvest. Ukraine and Canada, which are the leaders in sunflower and rapeseed oil production, have reduced their harvests by 30% due to drought. Export restrictions. Indonesia, one of the largest exporters of palm oil, imposed restrictions on sales abroad. Due to these restrictions, the demand for other types of oil increased sharply, which raised prices. Increased cost of logistics and production. High electricity and fuel prices made production more expensive. A shortage of packaging materials made it difficult to pack and transport the product. What to do? Buy a few bottles of oil for future use. Use alternatives: olive oil, coconut oil, or ghee. Reduce oil use by using non-frying cooking methods. 6. Canned vegetables. Why might they go bad? Canned vegetables have a long shelf life and are a convenient option for those who want to stock up. However, in 2025, this product may become rare on store shelves. The main reasons for the shortage: problems in agriculture. Droughts in the U.S. and Canada have reduced the yield of many vegetables. Due to unstable weather conditions, farmers are cutting back on production, which reduces the supply of raw materials for canning. Shortage of packaging. High prices for tin and glass have made canned food production expensive. Many factories are cutting back on production to avoid losses. What to do? Buy canned vegetables now. Pay attention to alternatives: frozen or dried vegetables. Consider home canning. 7. Canned meat. Why will there be less of it? Canned meat has always been considered a strategic reserve in case of a crisis. However, due to economic problems, reduced feed production, and rising demand, its quantity on the market is decreasing. The main reasons for the shortage: decrease in livestock numbers. Due to rising feed costs, many farmers are reducing the number of livestock, which affects meat production. Increased cost of production. High electricity and fuel prices have made the canning process more expensive. Increased demand. People are starting to buy long-lasting products in large quantities, which further complicates the situation. What to do? Stock up on canned meat now. Consider alternatives: canned chicken or fish, dried meat. 8. Canned fish. Is a shortage coming? Canned fish is an important source of protein, but its production is facing serious challenges. In 2025, tuna, salmon, and sardines may become much scarcer and prices will rise. The main reasons for the shortage: overfishing. Due to massive overfishing of tuna and salmon, their populations have declined significantly. Ban on commercial fishing. In the North Atlantic, restrictions have been imposed on the catch of certain fish species. Problems with transportation. High fuel prices have made logistics more expensive. What to do? Buy several cans of canned fish in advance. Look for cheaper options: sardines, mackerel. Consider alternatives: dried or frozen fish. 9. Cornflakes and breakfast cereals. Why might they disappear? Cornflakes and other breakfast cereals have become a staple for many families. They contain carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals, and are often fortified with beneficial trace elements. However, their availability may decrease significantly in 2025. The main reasons for the shortage: reduced corn harvest. The United States and Mexico, are the world's major corn producers. Droughts in these countries have reduced yields by 30 to 40%, which has affected the production of corn flour and flakes. Lower yields mean lower production of breakfast cereals. Increased demand in other industries. Corn is widely used not only in the food industry, but also for the production of livestock feed and biofuels. Due to the energy crisis, more corn is being diverted to bioethanol production, reducing its availability for food. Rising production costs. Rising energy and logistics costs make the production of breakfast cereals less profitable for companies. Manufacturers are forced to cut production or raise prices, making the product more expensive for the end consumer. What to do? Buy several packages of breakfast cereals at the old prices. Consider alternatives: oatmeal, homemade granola, muesli. Pay attention to local producers who may have stocks at lower prices. 10. Nuts and dried fruits. What's happening on the market? Nuts and dried fruits are a source of healthy fats, vitamins, and minerals that are widely used in healthy diets, but their production is already under threat due to extreme weather conditions. The main reasons for the shortage: droughts in the United States and Turkey, California, produces more than 80% of the world's almonds, but the drought has reduced yields by 40%. Turkey is one of the main producers of pistachios, raisins, and figs, but the heat wave damaged a significant part of the crops. Problems with transportation. A shortage of containers and rising sea freight costs have made it difficult to import nuts and dried fruits. As a result of the delays, supermarket stocks are rapidly dwindling. Growing demand. In Europe and the U.S., nuts and dried fruits have become a staple in many diets, which has increased their consumption. Demand exceeds supply, causing prices to rise sharply. What to do? Stock up on nuts and dried fruits now before prices rise even more. Look for local producers who may have cheaper alternatives. Use other sources of healthy fats, such as pumpkin or sunflower seeds. 11. Cereals, an alternative to pasta and rice. Cereals such as buckwheat, pearl barley, bulgur are an excellent source of nutrients, are stored for a long time, and can replace other expensive products. In 2025, they may become one of the most sought-after commodities. The main reasons for the shortage. Reduced grain production. Due to droughts in Europe and Russia, the yields of buckwheat and pearl barley have decreased. Bulgur is made from wheat, which has been reduced due to export restrictions. Demand for long-term storage products. Amid the food crisis, people are actively buying cereals, which can lead to shortages on store shelves. What to do? Stock up on different types of cereals to have a varied diet. Look for local production that has not yet raised prices. Experiment with recipes, replacing pasta with cereals. 12. Honey. Why is it worth buying now? Honey is a natural sweetener with an unlimited shelf life. It can replace sugar and has beneficial properties that make it a valuable product in times of crisis. The main reasons for a possible shortage: declining bee population. Due to the use of pesticides and climate change, the bee population is declining, which affects honey production. Increased cost of production. Increased prices for beekeeping equipment and logistics affect the cost of the product. What to do? Buy a few jars of natural honey before the price goes up. Support local beekeepers who can offer quality honey at a more affordable price. 13. Salt is a strategic product that may rise in price. Salt is one of the most important products for canning and cooking. Although it seems that its reserves are endless, the market situation may change. The main reasons for the price increase: increased cost of extraction. Salt extraction requires significant energy inputs, and due to rising fuel prices, the cost of production is increasing. Logistics problems. Salt is difficult to transport, and due to rising transportation costs, it may become more expensive. What to do? Buy several packages of salt. It does not spoil and can be stored for decades. Consider alternatives, such as sea salt or Himalayan salt, which have beneficial trace elements. 14. Tea and coffee. Why are prices rising and stocks dwindling? Tea and coffee are beverages without which it is difficult to imagine starting the day, but by 2025 they may become scarce or significantly more expensive. The main reasons for this are declining yields, supply problems, and rising logistics costs. The main reasons for a possible shortage: climate change has affected the harvest. In India and Sri Lanka, the yield of tea plantations fell by 30% due to droughts and water shortages. Due to abnormal temperatures and plant diseases, some coffee farms in Brazil and Colombia reduced production. Problems with exports and logistics. Rising fuel prices and disruptions in transportation have made tea and coffee supplies more expensive. Some countries have already restricted exports to support the domestic market. Increased demand for alternatives. Due to the shortage of coffee, demand for tea is growing, which also affects its stocks. Large coffee companies are already adjusting recipes or reducing packaging volumes. What to do? Buy a few packs of your favorite tea or coffee before prices rise even more. Consider alternatives. Mate, Rooibos, Chicory. Watch for promotions and buy in bulk. 15. Long-term storage milk. What is happening on the market? Long-term storage milk is a strategic product for many families, especially in times of crisis. But in 2025, its stocks may decrease and prices may rise. The main reasons for a possible shortage: problems in animal husbandry, a shortage of livestock feed due to a decline in grain production, and an increase in its price. Many farmers are reducing the number of cows due to unprofitable milk production. Energy crisis. Rising electricity prices complicate pasteurization and packaging processes. Producers reduce output due to high production costs. Increased demand. People are increasingly buying long-term storage milk, fearing a shortage of regular milk. What to do? Buy a few packs of shelf-stable milk for the future. Consider alternatives. Plant milk, milk powder. Look for local producers who have not yet raised prices. 16. Powdered milk and cream are a good alternative in times of crisis. Powdered milk is a great backup option because it has a long shelf life and is easy to use in baking and preparing drinks. Why might it rise in price? The shortage of regular milk increases the demand for milk powder. The rising cost of processing and packaging affects the final price. What to do? Stock up on milk powder and cream for storage. Use plant-based alternatives, coconut milk, almond milk powder. 17. Syrups and natural sweeteners. Can they become scarce? Agave syrup, maple syrup, and stevia are increasingly being used as sugar substitutes, but their supplies may be in short supply. The main reasons for the price increase: decreased production of agave and maple sap due to drought, increased demand due to rising sugar prices. What to do? Buy syrups and sweeteners now. Consider alternatives. Date syrup, coconut sugar. 18. Frozen fruits and vegetables. Why should you have them at home? If canned foods become scarce, frozen fruits and vegetables will remain a good alternative. Why is their availability at risk? Reduced yields due to weather conditions. Increased demand due to high prices for fresh produce, high costs of freezing and transportation. What to do? Purchase frozen food in advance. Use seasonal fruits and vegetables for self-freezing. 19. Legumes, a protein supply that will not disappear. Lentils, chickpeas, and beans are an excellent source of protein, especially if meat becomes more expensive. Why are pulses becoming more popular? Increased demand due to rising meat prices. Their long shelf life makes them ideal for stockpiling. What to do? Buy pulses in different versions: canned, dried. Consider alternatives: peas, mung beans, soy products. 20. Tomato paste and sauces. Why may prices rise? Tomato paste and sauces are the basis of many dishes, but their production is already facing difficulties. The main problems on the market are reduced tomato harvest due to extreme heat in Italy, Spain, and California. Increased demand due to rising prices for fresh tomatoes. What to do? Buy several packages of tomato paste and sauces for long-term storage. Consider alternatives. Home canning of tomatoes. 21. Vinegar. Why is it worth stocking up in advance? Vinegar is a versatile product that is used not only in cooking but also in canning, making sauces, marinades, and even in everyday life for cleaning. It has a long shelf life and may be needed in times of crisis. The main reasons for a possible shortage: increased demand for canning. In times of food shortages, many people start making their own preparations. The popularity of home canning of vegetables, fruits, and mushrooms has increased, which creates additional demand for vinegar. Rising production costs. Wine and apple cider vinegar is made from fermented fruit juice, and the decline in grape and apple harvests is affecting its production. Increased transportation costs also raise prices. Supply restrictions. Some countries are already reducing exports of table vinegar to preserve their own stocks. What to do? Buy several bottles of vinegar in advance. It does not spoil and can be stored for years. Look for alternatives: lemon juice or natural fermented vinegar. Store vinegar in a cool place, away from light, to preserve its quality. 22. Spices and seasonings. Why can they become more expensive? Spices add flavor to dishes, but due to global agricultural and logistical problems, their prices may rise. The main reasons for a possible shortage: reduced harvest of spicy plants. Droughts in India and Indonesia have affected the production of turmeric, cardamom, cloves, and cinnamon. Africa and the Middle East suffered from water shortages, which affected the production of cumin and pepper. Problems with transportation. Spices are often imported from far away, and rising fuel costs have increased their final price. Disruptions in container transportation made it difficult to supply vanilla, saffron, and other rare spices. Increased demand. In times of shortage, people switch to simpler foods that are made more palatable with spices. What to do? Buy basic spices in advance. Black pepper, cinnamon, turmeric, basil, paprika. Pay attention to local production, where spices can be cheaper. If they are not available, it will become more difficult to bake homemade bread. The main reasons for a possible shortage. Increased demand for home baking. People are increasingly making bread and pastries at home, which increases the demand for yeast. Rising cost of raw materials. The production of yeast requires special conditions and a nutrient medium, and the rise in grain and energy prices has affected its cost. Production disruptions. Some yeast production plants have faced problems due to a lack of raw materials. What to do? Buy yeast and leavening agents for future use. They can be stored in the refrigerator. Consider alternatives. You can make your own bread starter. Store the yeast in a cool, dry place to extend its shelf life. 24. Mustard and mayonnaise. Why might they disappear from the shelves? Mustard and mayonnaise are popular sauces used in cooking, but their production is under threat. The main reasons for the possible shortage. Shortage of mustard seeds. Due to the drought in France and Canada, mustard yields have dropped by 50%. Many companies have already reduced their mustard production due to the lack of raw materials. Rise in the cost of mayonnaise production. Prices for vegetable oil and eggs have risen, which directly affects the cost of mayonnaise. Some manufacturers are changing their recipes or reducing production volumes. What to do? Buy several jars of mustard and mayonnaise in advance. Pay attention to homemade alternatives. You can make sauces yourself. Check the composition of products to avoid cheap substitutes in the future. 25. Cornstarch. Why do you need to stock up? Cornstarch is the main thickening agent in cooking, used in baked goods, sauces, soups, and desserts. The main reasons for a possible shortage: reduced corn harvest. Due to droughts in the U.S. and Mexico, corn production has declined, affecting processing. The main raw material for cornstarch is used to produce feed and biofuels, which reduces its availability. Increased demand. In the food industry, cornstarch is used as a stabilizer and thickener for many products. What to do? Purchase cornstarch in advance while its prices remain stable. Use alternatives such as potato starch or flour. 26. Chocolate. Will it become a luxury? Chocolate is not just a dessert but a popular product all over the world. However, due to the crisis in cocoa bean production, chocolate prices have already begun to rise rapidly, and its availability may decrease significantly in 2025. The main reasons for the possible shortage: climate problems in producing countries. Most cocoa beans are grown in Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, and Nigeria. Due to abnormal heat and droughts, cocoa yields fell by 35%. Diseases of cocoa trees. In recent years, outbreaks of viral diseases of cocoa crops have destroyed thousands of hectares of plantations. Growing demand and speculation. Demand for cocoa is growing, while stocks are dwindling. Some companies are buying up huge amounts of cocoa to resell it at a higher price. What to do? Buy chocolate now before prices reach record levels. Consider alternatives: caramel, cocoa powder, nut spreads. 27. Dried or smoked meat is a strategic protein source. Dried or smoked meat is an ideal product for long-term storage because it does not require refrigeration. Why might this product disappear or become more expensive? Reduced meat production. Feed shortages are forcing farmers to reduce their livestock numbers. Some countries restrict exports of beef and pork, rising costs of processing and storage. Smoking and drying meat requires high energy costs, which makes the final product more expensive. What to do? Stock up on dried meat and sausages. They can be stored for a long time. Consider alternatives: canned fish, vegetable protein products. 28. Canned broths are an indispensable product in times of crisis. Canned broths are a great way to diversify your diet and prepare nutritious meals quickly. Why is it worth having them in stock? Disruptions in production. Due to the shortage of meat, manufacturers may reduce the production of meat broths. The rise in the cost of packaging, tin and plastic, also affects the final cost of the product. Long shelf life. Canned broths can be stored for up to 3 years and can be a lifesaver in difficult times. What to do? Buy several cans of meat or vegetable broth. Consider alternatives: dry bouillon cubes or home canning. 29. Instant foods are ideal in times of need. Instant foods, noodles, mashed potatoes, cereals, are a lifesaver in times of power outages or limited cooking resources. Why might they disappear from stores? Growing demand. In times of crisis, people buy products that don't require complicated cooking. Problems with production. The shortage of cereals affects the production of noodles and porridge. Some factories are forced to reduce production volumes due to high costs. What to do? Stock up on instant noodles, dry mashed potatoes, and cereals. Use alternatives: cereals, legumes, dry soup mixes. 30. Food supplements and vitamins. Why are they a necessity? Food supplements and vitamins can be critically important in times of shortage of fresh fruits and vegetables. Why should you pay attention to vitamins? Decrease in the quality of products. Due to problems in the agricultural sector, fruits and vegetables may contain less vitamins. Supply disruptions. Many vitamins are imported from abroad, and logistical problems can make them harder to come by. Supporting the immune system. In times of crisis, the body needs more nutrients, and a lack of vitamins can affect health. What to do? Buy basic vitamins and supplements: vitamin C, D, magnesium, zinc. Pay attention to natural sources: honey, dried fruits, nuts. Food shortages have already begun, and the situation will only get worse. Stockpiling is not a panic, but a reasonable approach to the future. Review your shopping list, stock up on what you need, and keep an eye on the market.